What a headshot! What a head!
How's it guys, this is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be taking you through my transfer plan for the upcoming Game Week 16. It's another quick turnaround from Game Week 15 to Game Week 16. Game Week 15 hasn't even finished yet. We still do have 2 games coming up tonight, but because of the quick turnaround, I'm going to release this video today. So as usual, I'll give you guys a review of how the current game week is going. Game week 15, we're currently on a green arrow, fingers crossed it stays like that, but we still have some players coming up tonight. Then I'll turn my attention to all the goodness of game week 16. Unfortunately, it hasn't been all good. A potential injury to Mbeumo might force our hand and use our free transfer. But don't worry, I'll be going over who my replacements are and then give you guys the actual team selection. So that's something that you guys are interested in. Sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. But first things first, game week 15, obviously the game week is still going to be happening. I have 3 players coming up. That's going to be Dubravka, Lascelles, and finally Son. And I used my free transfer on bringing in a new goalkeeper. So I actually missed the price rise, so Dubravka came in at 4.0 million, but that still could be a steal. And I've doubled up on that Newcastle defense versus Everton. Now on paper, this looks pretty good. If they can keep a clean sheet, I'll be super happy, as the clean sheets for game week 15 haven't really been there. So as I said, fingers crossed we do get a Newcastle defensive return, as in that green arrow is only going to get more. Then in terms of Son, his effective ownership is still relatively low. I think it was about 50% amongst my ranks. So if he does anything against West Ham tonight, that's going to be absolutely golden. But as mentioned, currently on a green arrow as things stand, a little bit of a small green arrow up until about the 360k mark. So let's hope after tonight that green arrow only gets bigger. Now in terms of the overall points, currently it's going to be 30 points and a kind of average game week rank of 3.2 million. It's actually quite a low scoring game week as of now. Now comment down below, how's your game week currently going? How many players do you have coming up tonight? And where are you currently sitting in the overall ranks? Now in terms of my transfer plan for the upcoming game week, only 1 free transfer and 0.5 in the bank. So a slight upgrade can be made if you want to upgrade Mbeumo. So besides those 3 options, if any of them don't feature tonight, I will have some bench coverage. Areola has Spurs, so let's hope Dubravka does feature. Otherwise, it's going to be Gay or Taylor off the bench for Lascelles or Son. So as mentioned this week, for game week 15, the clean sheets were definitely not there. Gay, Taylor, unfortunately not getting any points, but at least I benched them. Then in terms of Archer, wasn't expecting much for their game last night against Liverpool, but I guess at least he played the majority of minutes. Now the lack of clean sheets continued into our defensive department. Gabriel and Saliba, I lost their clean sheet quite early on into this fixture, and even though I wasn't expecting a clean sheet, on paper this game was a little bit easier. So if you guys don't know, Luton versus Arsenal ended 4-3 to Arsenal. It's an absolutely massive score there, but not for our defenders. So once again, the double up doesn't return any FPL points, and Arsenal's fixtures do get a little bit tougher from now on. So let's see if our other double up of the Newcastle assets, Dubravka and Lascelles, can get us some points, as the defense really does need it. Now let's go into our midfield department, and I'm going to start off with our captain Mohamed Salah. Unfortunately last night didn't get his 200th goal, and he only got the clean sheet point 3 double to 6. Now all I have to say is that at least Salah outperformed Erling Haaland. I know it's 1 point, but it's 1 point at the end of the day. But Liverpool started off this game quite slowly. Now after the deadline, I actually thought to myself, if Sheffield United do park the bus, Mo Salah's not the best option against that. But I thought that he could have got a return in this fixture. Now Liverpool overall throughout the game scored off a set piece, then only scored again in injury time, so it was actually quite a close game. But I think at the end of the day, Mo Salah was the standout captain, the easiest fixture on the cards, and at least he outperformed Erling Haaland. Now what I will add about Son is that if you guys did go for the mega differential captain, I think it might actually pay off for you. I expect Spurs to do quite well tonight against West Ham, so you guys enjoy those points. The next up is going to be Bukayo Saka, another consistent option, but as mentioned throughout the kind of game weeks, Arsenal score 4 goals, he only gets 1 assist, so yes he's consistent, but he's not getting all those points. So I'd really loved if Saka managed to get a haul this game week, definitely was a fixture to get one in. Scoring 4 goals and only getting 1 assist is a little bit disappointing. Then Mbeumo, the man of the hour in terms of his injury, I've had no update as of today, but let's see if we get an update in the press conference coming up tomorrow. But at least Mbeumo managed to get a goal before getting subbed off with that injury. It was a penalty, very well taken, just unlucky with that injury. Then the last option was to be Cole Palmer, who managed to score a very neatly taken finish against Manchester United, and he ended up with a bonus point taking him to 8. So I was quite happy when Palmer started this game against United, and the fact that he scored, I think it just cements his spot in that starting 11, and at his cheap price point, 8 points is a massive haul. So overall, our midfield department actually ended up doing pretty well. There's only Mo Salah currently that didn't get any attacking returns, so let's see if Son does some tonight. Now moving on, and it was Erling Haaland's 2-point appearance against Aston Villa. Pretty kind of low scoring game, but Man City actually had a pretty bad one, and Aston Villa actually dominated them. Now the big thing about Erling Haaland though is that he did have 2 big chances at the start of this fixture. I think both of them accumulated to 0.8 XG, so you would have thought that he would have converted one of them. But it seems like that's going to be Erling Haaland at the current moment, just missing these big chances, but I'm sure you'll find his shooting boots fairly shortly. But at least we captained the right option out of Erling Haaland and Mo Salah, and because Haaland's effective ownership was over 100%, I'm actually happy that he blanked. The same can't be said about Ollie Watkins. I really wish that he managed to get an attacking return. For those chances that Aston Villa had against Man City, all he managed to get was a yellow card. To make matters worse, Darwin Núñez, even though he didn't start against Sheffield United, came off the bench, got an assist, but I guess over the 2 game weeks we're still on positive. But as you guys can see, even though our midfield department got us some points, a relatively low scoring affair, but that could all change if Newcastle keep a clean sheet and Heung-min Son goes off. But at the current moment, a small green arrow to about the 360k mark. Let me know how your game week is going. Is it a green, a red arrow, and who do you have coming up tonight? Now before I get into the actual transfer plan, I want to give you guys the context of how the current team selection is looking. Always like to do this so that it kind of indicates what moves I'm potentially looking to make and how the overall team structure is looking. So just a reminder, keep this in the back of your mind as you guys see my team. Almost look at it as if this was your own team. If you guys had 1 free transfer and 0.5 left in the bank, what change would you guys make? So let's start off on the bench, and the bench this week isn't too great. I've got Gay against Liverpool at home and Charlie Taylor against Brighton away, and I expect both those teams to score. Then in terms of Archer, yes, I could actually play him against Brentford at home. Brentford haven't been the most tight defense at the current moment, but Sheffield United aren't the best at putting the ball in the back of the net. Then interestingly enough, I've got Dubravka on the bench against Spurs away, and the only reason for that is that I do own Heung-min Son, so therefore Areola is going to be back between the sticks. Now am I confident in Areola getting any returns? Definitely not. Fulham are actually playing pretty well at the current moment, and they're coming off a 5-0 victory against Nottingham Forest. So do I think West Ham keep a clean sheet? Definitely not, but out of these 2 goalkeepers, I think Areola has the high ceiling, and that's why I'm going to go for him. Now defensive department at the current moment, I've got Saliba and Gabriel against Aston Villa away. This is a terrible game. I own Ollie Watkins. I expect Aston Villa to score. If they did well against Man City, I expect them to do well against Arsenal. But maybe I'm playing the odds here and either hoping for an Ollie Watkins haul or an Arsenal clean sheet. Then the man in the middle, I've got Lascelles. I wasn't keen on doubling up on this Newcastle defense, but I will play him at the current moment. I just believe the Newcastle defense is better than the Crystal Palace one and definitely the Burnley one. But if you do make a transfer in our defensive department, I'll probably play the player I bring in, as I think Lascelles has a fairly low ceiling. The midfield department at least looks slightly better. I've got Mo Salah against Crystal Palace. Can he do what he did last season or the season before when Liverpool won 9-0 and he got no returns? Let's hope not, and I think he'll get his 200th goal. But as you guys will see, the Campsy armband isn't going to be on Mo Salah for this week, as up front there's just a better option. We then have Heung-min Son against Newcastle. This is a very tough game on paper. Newcastle's defense has been pretty strong, but this is going to be a home game for Spurs. So I think the dynamic of this game is going to be quite interesting. Will Spurs kind of sit back and counter-attack? Will Newcastle hold the possession? If Spurs do get a counter-attack, I think that Son's going to be quite lethal. Next up is going to be Saka, and this is a tough game to call. If Aston Villa can reproduce the performance against Man City, this might be a tough one for Arsenal, but they've really been grinding out results at the moment. But at the end of the day, Saka's going nowhere. Even though this might be a tougher game, I expect him to do quite well, as he's been pretty consistent. Then sadly, the option that probably has the best game in our team is going to be Mbeumo against Sheffield United. Now with that injury, we haven't had much news about it. On Thursday as I'm recording this video, it looks like he might be a major doubt, but let's just see what happens at the press conference coming up tomorrow. I'm really crossing my fingers that he will be fine for this game week because this is a massive game on paper, but I think most of us are looking to take him out. Then finally, Cole Palmer signals the run of the start of the Sea of Green for Chelsea. Massive fixture run coming up for them, and just happy I've got Cole Palmer in my team. Now I do think Everton are better attack than they are defense at the current moment, so I do expect Chelsea to do quite well here. So overall, midfield department actually looks pretty good. I think hopefully some points should be coming, and fingers crossed that Mbeumo makes a recovery. Then finally our forward department, and as you guys can see, it's Erling Haaland captain against Luton away. Just a no-brainer captain once again. I think you guys can go differential. I know Erling Haaland's missing a few big chances, but it's going to take quite a bit to not back him against Luton. So the Campsy armband is firmly on Erling Haaland at the current moment, and I do expect a reaction from Man City after losing to Aston Villa. Then talking about Aston Villa, Arsenal at home up next for Ollie Watkins. Tough game on the cards here once again, but if they do what they did against Man City, I can see a result in some goals here. Let's just hope that it's Ollie Watkins on the receiving end of some attacking returns, and no more yellow cards Ollie. But as you guys can see, the starting 11 doesn't look too bad. I think if Mbeumo's back from that injury, the team looks even better. But it does look like he's a major doubt for the upcoming game week. Other than that though, our defensive department isn't looking too strong, but yet again there's no clean sheets anyways, so it's kind of just playing whoever and hoping for the best. Now if you guys were to make one free transfer before you guys see my transfer plan, 0.5 in the bank, what would you do? Who's your Mbeumo replacement, and if Mbeumo is fit, who would you guys take out? So let's go over that transfer plan that I've just kind of described. It's going to be in two sections. The first section is going to be my Mbeumo replacement if we get news that he's going to miss game week 16. So the reason for that is that after this, in game week 17, he has Aston Villa at home. Because of the quick turnarounds of the game weeks, don't even know if he'll be fit for that if he does miss game week 16. Then as you guys know, game week 18 is the blank fixture. It was going to be Man City anyways, but they're traveling to the Club World Cup. So that's why if Mbeumo does miss the upcoming game week, I believe it's worth replacing him, and there are a few options. So one option that I can't really afford at the current moment is Jarrod Bowen. I can't afford this by 0.1, but if you guys do want to go there, he's a very reliable option. But I think I'm going to go for someone cheaper. So I've kind of boiled it down to two options. The first one is the no-brainer one. I do own Cole Palmer anyways, so the next budget option is Anthony Gordon. And Newcastle actually have a good run coming up. So they face Spurs, but then Fulham and Luton, two great games on the cards. And Anthony Gordon at the current moment's on great form. Now the only thing I worry about with Newcastle is their fixture run is pretty congested. They have the League Cup, FA Cup, as well as Champions League. And as you guys know, Newcastle have to win against AC Milan. So with their squad looking quite thin, will Anthony Gordon play most games? Don't exactly know, but I think he's a punt worth going for at that price point. Now he's the most sensible option if you guys are looking for a replacement. The form's there, the fixtures are there, the team looks decent, but there are a few other differentials that you guys can look at. The one I currently have my eye on is going to be Raheem Sterling. Now as you guys know, Chelsea have a great run from game week 16 onwards. That's Everton, Sheffield United and Wolves in the next three. Now the only thing about this is I'll be doubling up on that Chelsea attack. They've been a little bit polarizing this Premier League season, but when they're on it, they're scoring goals. So Raheem Sterling might not be the worst replacement in the world, doubling up on this lovely sea of green, but I would consider more of a differential punt. Now the options to look at will be a Hwang Chan for Wolves. I just think though that the fixtures dry up a little bit. And of course if you want to go for someone like a Phil Foden, he could be an option. The one thing I want to add though about Raheem Sterling is that he is currently on 4 yellow cards, 1 more, and he is suspended. So that might put me off going for him, as it might be a little bit dangerous when that fixture comes. For example, let's just say he gets booked against Everton, he'll therefore miss the Sheffield United game, which isn't too optimal. So the current moment, if Mbeumo is out, then that Gordon is going to be the option to look at. He is playing tonight though, so just make sure that he doesn't get injured. Otherwise a cheeky punt on a Phil Foden might not be the worst in the world before Luton. But let me know who your replacement is in the comments down below. If Mbeumo is out, I think that is worth the transfer. So who would you guys select? But let's just say that Mbeumo has a little bit of magic overnight and he's actually fine for the upcoming game week. I think the transfer then will be used on our defense, as it's not looking too great. So the replacement I'm currently looking at is going to be Gay out for Crystal Palace, and the reason for that is the next three aren't too great. So Liverpool, Man City and Brighton, some of the best attacking sides in the Premier at the current moment, and with Crystal Palace's injuries, I'm not too confident on the clean sheets. So I think that Gay comes in at 4.6 million, so I can go for a replacement up to 5 mil. But I might actually go cheaper and go for someone like a Colwell. So that Chelsea team once again isn't going to be spoken about. The fixture run is just too hard to ignore, but it's quite hard to predict which Chelsea defender is the most nailed. So obviously if you guys can afford a Reece James, he's a very good option, but I'd have to take Saliba out to afford him. So Colwell's the next best option. But as I said, very hard to predict which of these options are going to be the most nailed. I think Colwell is probably the most versatile, and that's why I might go for him. But it's very tough to bring in an asset that's not 100% nailed for this tough run, as the fixtures are so congested that you want an option that plays the most minutes. But this transfer will only be made if Mbeumo is fine to be playing game week 16, otherwise I might make this move for game week 17. As mentioned, the other move I could make is Saliba out for Reece James, but I'm just not super confident of him being fully fit. Now out of these two moves, obviously I would prefer the defensive one. I do hope that Mbeumo is fit for the Sheffield United game, as that's a great fixture on the cards. But maybe you guys recommend another transfer in the comments down below. Always like to see what your guys' thoughts are, and let me know what your own plans are, and if you guys have any dilemmas that I can help out with. Otherwise, don't forget to let me know how you guys are doing in Game Week 15, and fingers crossed tonight's going to be a massive one. But this is basically the wrap for the video, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like if you did and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I'll see you guys for the team selection coming up tomorrow, where hopefully I see a Newcastle clean sheet. But for the time being, I'm Isai, it's been Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers, bye.